This video is over the lateral and surface area of a cylinder and prism. Lateral area is the area around the figure. So these figures are three-dimensional, but does not include the bases, and surface area is the area of all the faces, which means every piece of a three-dimensional object. So when you're looking at this cylinder here, this top part is a base, and the bottom part is considered a base. And then the area around this way, so if you had a soup can, the circular area around the soup can, lateral area is 2 pi r, and the r is the radius, which on a cylinder the radius would be on the top or the bottom, and that's half the circle, and the h is the height. So when you're talking about a cylinder, the height is going to be located right on the side. So if we draw this out, so radius is from the center out to the side, half the circle. The base would be at the bottom or the top, and the height is from the top to the bottom would be your height. So from base to base. The surface area would be described as all the way around the cylinder. Surface area equals 2 pi RH, so radius times height, plus 2 pi radius squared. Pi r squared is just the area of one circle. So if you just had pi r squared, that'd be the area of one circle. So if we just did pi r squared, that could be the bottom of your cylinder or your soup can. Then 2 pi r squared includes the top. So 2 pi r squared is the top and the bottom for your surface area. For the prism over here, again, this is your base. So the bases have to be the same shape. So you can see in each of these, the bases are the same shape for each figure. And both of these are considered a prism, and the bases have the same shape, like we said. A cylinder and a prism both have two bases. The difference is the cylinder's bases are always a circle, and the prism's bases, the shape can change. The top and the bottom are the same, but you can see that these two shapes are not the same for these two prisms. So to find the lateral area again, that's the area around with no bases. Notice it's a capital P for perimeter, and then height. So here we have capital P as perimeter and H is for height. The perimeter is just the perimeter of the base, and then the height is the height of the whole picture. So it'd be from base to base again. Surface area is the perimeter times height again. The perimeter is just the perimeter of the base times the height of the figure plus 2 times, notice this is a capital, which stands for the area of the base. So this capital B is the area of the base. So make sure you add this onto your notes too, that the capital B is the area of your base. So now that we know our formulas, let's look at a couple of examples here. So this one right here would be considered a cylinder. So if I wanted to find the lateral area of the cylinder, I would take 2 times pi times the radius. So I'm going to write out that. So we're going to find 2 times pi times the radius. So you're going to find the radius on the base, which is 7. Okay, so we know we're going to have 2 pi 7 times the height, which is the height of the whole picture, which the height always goes from base to base, and in this case it's 20. So my lateral area, I would take 2 times 7, which is 14, and then times 20, because we know we'd have height here too, so this would be times 20. So 14 times 20, which would equal 280. And then if we leave it in terms of pi, then I would just put 280 pi. And it's lateral area, so our units are still going to be squared. So since this was in inches, we would say 280 pi inches squared. Now, in order to find the surface area, the first part of the surface area formula is 2 pi times the height, which we just figured out to be 280 pi. So I would take 280 pi plus, and if you look at the formula, the second part of the formula is 2 times pi r squared. Which our r in this case is 7. So we would take 2 times pi 7 squared. So 2 times 7 squared is 49. So 49 times 2 would give us 98 pi. So we would end up with 280 pi plus 98 pi. This should be plus, sorry. And that would equal 378 pi inches squared. Because remember, it's still area, so our units would be squared. Now our next example over here, this is a prism. So in order to find the lateral area, the formula is capital P times H. So lateral area equals capital P times H. So the perimeter of the base, so when I look at this picture, I could consider the base to be this top portion here. So in order to find the perimeter of this, I would take 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus, or 7 plus 4 plus 7 plus 4, and that would be my capital P. So my capital P would be 22. And then times my height. Now remember what I said about the height. The height is of the whole figure. That's important to remember. Capital P is just the perimeter of the base, and then little h is the height of this whole entire figure, which in this case is 30. So my lateral area for this would be 22 times 30. So it would be 660. Again, it's area, so it would be units squared. So this would be, since we have feet, 660 feet squared. Then to find surface area, you can look at the formula here. Your surface area is your lateral area, which we found to be 660. And we have to add that to 2 times capital B, which remember capital B is the area of your base. So if I take 2 times, and in these parentheses is where you find the area of your base. So we have 660 plus 2 times. Now the way that we figure out capital B will change depending on what shape your base is. Well, in this case, the shape of the base is just a rectangle. So to find area, you just take base times height, or length times width. So in this case, to figure out my capital B, I'm going to take 7 times 4. I got 7 times 4. So I would do 660 plus 7 times 4, which is 28, times 2, which is 56. And then I would add together my lateral area plus the area of my two bases and find my final answer. So we have 660 plus our 56, and that would give us our final answer of 716. And again, we're finding area, so it's going to be in feet squared, and that is my surface area for this. All right, go ahead and try the example problems on the following pages now that you know these formulas to use. Good luck.